Fire and wind come from the sky, from the gods of the sky. But in their rage, the gods forgot the secret of steel and left it on the battlefield. And we who found it are just men. Not gods, just men.
Shikare wa subete desu. Heyo, this is King Kerfuffle, and happy Halloween, everyone! And a very special happy birthday to my wife as well. I'm here on the 100th floor of the Abyss in appreciation for my channel finally reaching 100 subscribers. Quite honestly, for someone who makes videos just for the fun of it and has yet to monetize their content, I never thought that I'd ever get that many. 100 subscribers may not be a big deal to some people, but it certainly is to me. So to everyone who supported the channel with your viewership, you have my sincerest gratitude. And as part of my thanks, I now present to you my latest, my strongest, and likely my last Nioh build. The Kensei. With the last series of patches, my Batosai build was all but completely decimated. Critical stats no longer affect living weapon, nullified damage only counts for 1 hit, and damage times 2 is now completely broken. When I was doing my own testing, I found the active perk time is way too short to do anything with, and it kept changing randomly. I tried changing stances, running longer or shorter distances before a dash attack, and I could not get it to behave consistently. That and when I was starting to explore its potential, they changed the tracking and damage on Wild Spear, making me question doing a new build altogether. But then when I was going back over the patch notes, wondering why Team Ninja would do all of this, I realized something. When I first started playing this game in the alpha and beta days, I remember how insanely difficult it was. But it was that struggle that made it so rewarding. Each time they've patched this game where there was a major weapon or damage mechanic that was affected, they were taking out something that was making the game too easy. So instead of trying to find some other mechanic to exploit, I've embraced the idea of a build that teeters on the edge of life and death. And the only thing that can save you is your own skill. The name Kensei is a title given to that of a master swordsman who have honed their skills to near perfection. This build is not so much the gear and weapon that make it, but the way in which it is played. Having reached the maximum level of 750, I've allocated my stats to give me the bare minimum of what I need to get all my ninjutsu and magic skills, placing everything else into maxing out as many damage stats as I possibly could. As for my weapons and gear go, I haven't bothered leveling them up to plus 50 yet, so these values have the potential to go even higher. For my graces, I chose to keep Futsunushi at all costs since it is, in my opinion, still the best set for katana wielders. However, I couldn't just keep my old set from my Batosai build because I had to make enough room for the Kaigetsu set since it's a much stronger 4-piece bonus than the Susanoo set. To keep the EI buff for Futsunushi, I defiled Hino Enma's Kabuto because I still like to use paralysis traps. I inherited attack as always, and I also made sure that on this and 2 other pieces I got elemental damage reduction while guarding. The reason for this is because if you can get your elemental guard to 100% or above, you can make some of the more difficult enemies that have elemental projectiles or AoE attacks, like Sonata, a lot more manageable. It also comes in quite handy for those moments you find yourself in the middle of a salacious sonic boom freeway. To pull this off, I do recommend you have this stat on your helmet since it's the only gear piece that can roll it naturally, and it still allows you to keep an attack inheritable, and then vice versa for your Kote. Attack stats can appear normally on Kote, but if you can get one with an attack star effect, you'll get even more, which really helps to compensate for whatever other gear piece you choose to put elemental guarding on, since those are the only 2 gear pieces that can have both at the same time. Now, even though attack times 2 was nerfed, there's still a regular bonus after dash attack you can get on Kote, but it's a toss-up between that or close combat attack increase, which is what I went with since it harmonizes more with certain spear skills, but it's really up to however you want to play. The rest of your gear is pretty straightforward. Just make sure you roll as many attack buff stats as you can whenever possible, use weight reduction to keep yourself in B agility, and keep your toughness above 200 and make sure you have tenacity on either one of your gear pieces or an accessory. The ideal accessory for this build would be anything that has both yokai close combat damage and damage while paralyzed. However, this is extremely rare. I myself only have one that has both, and for my other I swap out one of 2 Yasukanis depending on what I'm up against. But if you can manage to get 2 that have both and a set bonus -1, then you are a god among men. Finally, we come to the weapons. For my katana, I swapped out Ikari no Fujin from my last build for a near identical sword with a base fire damage instead. This one I call Kyubi no Ken, Sword of the Nine Tails. It has the highest percentage you can get for EI Quick Draw at 24.9, which coupled with Futsunushi gives you 64.9 to EI bonus. Now despite the nerf, I chose to keep nullified damage after dash attack because sometimes just negating a single hit is more than worth it. Although I still use a katana as my main weapon, the Nioh gods blessed me with this, which I call Kanmeki no Raijin, or Raijin's Bolt, Raijin being the Shinto god of lightning. With 2-star stats and its set bonus, I couldn't ask for a better spear. Not only does it have the AA familiarity bonus, but because it is part of the Japan's Bravest set, I effectively get 2 skill bonuses, one for Wild Spear and the other for Tornado. Sure, it could have rolled a Tornado star stat as well, giving me roughly 54%, but I feel it wouldn't be nearly as successful. So in total, this build uses bonuses from 3 different sets, making it my most well-rounded and, honestly, most fun set I've ever used. Tengen Kujaku, Kato, and Hinezumi are still your go-to guardian spirits. Instead of Enku, you can swap in Bisha's Centipede, which synchronizes well with a lot of spear attacks, which can just chew through enemies' guard. So, once again, the question becomes, what can this build do? Well, if we go with the scientific method, first we need to establish a baseline. Using no other buffs than what's on my gear and accessories, I can get 189,837, more than enough to kill poor Monishige. If we start stacking on things like critical health, bonus at 0 ki, Tengen Kujaku primary, Hinezumi secondary, and then pop weakness, carnage, leeching, hermit, extraction, reciprocity, and a fire talisman for good measure, we get the following results.
お前はもう死んでいる。何?
As you can see, the percentage goes up just ever so slightly. All in all, I feel that this has been the best game of 2017, or at least it has been for me, and it has become one of my all-time favorites. Of course, it isn't without its flaws. Since its release, it's undergone several patches and bug fixes, and even after patch 1.20, I managed to find Peter Pan's shadow. I've been invited to more than a couple ninja dance parties, and when I was doing some testing on our old pal Onryoki, I used the exact same steps, got the exact same damage number, but got completely different results. That is a pretty offensive bug if I've ever seen one. Offensive! Even still, I have been enraptured by this game. Being a student of Kendo and Iaido, and with my overall fascination with Japanese history and mythology, playing this game has been one nostalgic moment after the other. I was an art student all throughout high school, and this game made me feel the same way I did when I played Assassin's Creed 2 and Brotherhood. In those games and in this, every time you meet a character whose name you recognized, see a historic landmark, fight a mythological creature, or even just seeing a particular date in time, I would get excited for what I was about to see. And even mixing in a little romanticism and fantasy here and there was fine because it was done tastefully. I'm excited this game is going to get an audience for PC soon. My hope is that they don't tweak the game too much afterwards, but I'm sure there will be some growing pains. I kinda hope that a new endgame comes along as a result. I've all but left the Abyss behind for now. Hell, the only reason I even got to floor 100 was for this video and nothing else. But for now, my part in this tale is over. I hope you've enjoyed my content, and I hope this video has helped to inspire you to come up with your own new build ideas. And I look forward to seeing what the future holds. But with that, domo arigatou gozaimasu, and good luck, samurai!